So that was me about 5 months ago working on the dam, and this is a before shot of what the dam looked like before I started working on it and after the earthworks guys had dug it out. As you can see, there is lots of work to be done. But first, hello, I'm Jasmine and welcome to Building a Dream, where I build my own container house on my off-grid property. Okay, so that was me doing the dam in probably spring and the start of summer. It's since now been summer and is the start of autumn, so it's just turned to autumn, and I want to show you the dam now in comparison. Okay, so as you can see, the water's dropped dramatically. So basically when I had this dug, my plans were very different from now, and I had them dug randomly in the excitement of having all the earthworks done, and this one happened to hit a spring line, which reminded me about the spring line and how I should utilize it, which I'll tell you about soon. And so basically this one filled up straight away, instantly, all the way up to here, and was massive. But then as summer went through, it's dropped down, and this is how it looks now at the start of autumn. But I'm hoping with my plan it will never ever drop like this again, and will hopefully be full forever. So let me show you the other dam, which is literally, so that's that dam, and then literally right behind me here is the other one. Now this one never filled up, so this one has missed the spring line altogether. And you can also see this one wasn't as bad as the other dam and what I've done to enhance it, but you can see kind of what I was dealing with the other one and how it was just placed and everything. So it's really not a nice surrounding. Whoa. So this one is completely dry. So it did fill up a little bit during winter when it was raining from the rainwater, but basically dried up straight away when summer came. So I'll try do a long shot so you can see. But basically we got first dam here, second dam there, and the spring line is around about near it and runs all the way back up behind here, which is where I'm going to start my base of my water system. Okay, so here is where it gets complicated. So bear with me, I'm going to try explain my plan and my thought process to you. So this is basically what I have now. So that's where the house is going to go, that's where the shed's going to go, that's where the rainwater tank is, and this is where my two dams are, and then this is the underground spring line. So I'm just drawing out what I plan to add to the water system now, and I just wanted to point out for any of you that haven't noticed my concentrating face, yes, that big frown, yeah, it's doing fantastic for my wrinkles. Okay, so I'm going to try to talk you through this, and bear with me because my drawings and my approach is not actually a specific one. It's one I've kind of developed over researching a lot. So this blue line here that you can see running all the way through, that's where the spring line is, okay? But this is the wet area that is always wet. Year long, water is coming from the ground here. Now this water hole here, this dam, is not at all on the spring lines. This one is a little bit on the spring line. So basically what I want to do is right here, I want to dig a trench and I want to put some type of piping system in here, because otherwise this one is never going to fill up completely and stay full. So if I can get some type of piping system worked and to go down here to connect to this dam, then I can fill it up and have water in there year round. Now along here, this is where the spring line is. So I want to dig up the area basically where the spring line is and turn it into a creek. So these areas where there's green lines along the creek, they would be level. So I wouldn't just be digging it up any which way. I would want to create levels that drop as I go down. There is also a slight slope in the property down this way as well, so that will work really well. So at each level I want to have a massive amount of big rocks, so much so that it is slowing down the water and only allowing a certain amount of water to get through. The bottom of the creek I'm going to fill with pebbles, so like river rock type things, and not have any plastic of any sort, because the whole point and aim of this is to regenerate the land. So I do want the water seeping out at a slow rate that I'm controlling into the land around it to regenerate it. So basically it would come all the way down here, it would meet this second dam that's already here, and then it would continue down along the spring line, and then I want to create another spring down in another area at the bottom of the property where the water pools as well, but not as much. And I would say that also may be some surface water as well, because it does stay damp all year round, but the water doesn't come up above the surface all year round. So I'd say a lot of that would be to do with the slope as well. So I've called them these two springs and these two water holes, and that's because I want these to be more leisurely, and these are actually on the spring line. So this one I'm thinking can be more of a, like, have a maybe floating platform and then fish and all that kind of stuff in there. And then this one I want to be like a swimming hole and have a jetty and a canoe and all that kind of stuff. And these, I want them to be very much natural looking springs, so overgrown with reeds, pumping beautiful fresh water, and same all the way down along the creek line as well. Now, how I got to this idea and this plan and stuff, it kind of happened over a big amount of time and researching a bunch of different approaches. When I bought the property, there was a couple of things that I was looking for in a property, mostly natural bushland, and I wanted water of some sort, like some kind of water source. This one had an underground spring, and it had beautiful natural bushland and all the grass. When I had earthworks done, I asked them to dig 2 dams. Over time, I watched those 2 dams, and I also watched where the underground spring was meant to be on the land. And I noticed that the wet area that was always there throughout the year, it didn't change, so it always had the same amount of water coming up above the ground, which led me to believe that there's, you know, the water table was right there on the surface or just below it. I used to live up north, and I used to be obsessed with looking for waterfalls. So I used to study maps and always look for green spots and look for like water plants and all that kind of thing. And I noticed in that area where I thought the spring line was, yeah, it was not only damp, but there was also lots of plants that were only in that area that ran across the property that was damp. I tried to get a topographical map because they're fantastic to look at, and I did get one for the property, but I just don't think it's that accurate. So basically I'm just going to have to figure it out myself. But the approaches, I wanted to start, and I was looking up natural pools and all that kind of stuff, and I saw them doing natural creeks, like regenerative ones, so like creating them themselves. And then a friend told me about natural sequence farming, and basically I think it was a guy called Peter Andrews, don't quote me on that, I'll try put it in the comments, that developed this approach to water systems. And it's really clever. He just did it by looking at his land over 40 years and realizing that something wasn't right, and it was because the humans had messed with the land and it had changed the way that water runs and is gathered and all that kind of stuff. So he just basically wanted to set it back to how it was. So there's a few elements from this approach or a lot of elements that I want to take from him, but the main one is that it's to regenerate the earth. So that's why I don't want any plastic line. I want the water to go into the earth, but the main thing is we just want to control the rate at which it does that, so that it's not doing it too fast and just getting wasted, and it needs to be a slow release, so it's happening over time. So yeah, that's basically how I came together with the idea. It was just a mix of research, experience and observation. So yep, that's my water plan. Okay, so when I hired the digger last week, I hired a digger because I needed to dig out the foundation holes for my footings, and it took 2 days, it was forever, it was crazy. But basically I had an hour, and I was like, there's not really much more I can do on these holes. And I was like, should I get it across the property and dig out that wet area a little bit and see if I was right about my suspicions? And so I got there and I dug it out, and I definitely got my result. But first, let's get into how I enhanced the dam first, and I'll show you how I did that, and then I can show you what the result was with where I dug out. So as you can tell from my level of enthusiasm, this is at the beginning of my work on the dam when I hadn't yet realised the size of the job I had in front of me. And as you can see, the only equipment I had was a shovel and my boots. So basically what I'm doing now is, when it was dug out, it was kind of left in a mess. So I'm just smoothing out all the edges because it's clay, so it's quite hard. So if you don't smooth it out, it's kind of like all these rocks and jagged edges. So I'm getting the shovel and rake and basically my boots and just stomping on it and just smoothing out all these edges. And then what I'm going to do is, from where they've cleared all the land from doing the house, I'm going to bring over some soil from there, and once it's smooth, just layer that all on top, and then I'm going to start planting some plants around the outside. So as always, I thought the dam was going to take me maybe a week or two tops. Of course it didn't. It took a couple of months, and this was not an easy task. There was branches and leaves and everything in this clay, and it was getting harder by the day. So the ground was turning to rock, and the level of the water was also dropping, so I had more and more work to do. Quick little progress shot, and at this point I was contemplating all my life choices. But as someone said to me in the comments, which I really liked, it's probably a good thing that you don't know the size of the jobs that you're taking on, because then you probably wouldn't do them to begin with. And I love looking at it in that positive light. So positively moving forward, I only had about half left to do. 200 meters away, I had a massive pile of soil that was left by the earthworks after they cleared where the house was going to go. So I was lugging this in my wheelbarrow and first removing all the sticks and leaves and everything that wasn't soil. On my back. And then I had to lug it all the way back to the dam, which is the first time I developed shoulder muscles. And I'm doing this in hopes that the soil will be better for all the plants and flora and stuff that I want to plant there. This project took around 2 months to complete. And I've just remembered I wanted to add a jetty too, so I can only really do that now if it's never going to be dry again. So I should probably get onto that. But anyway, that's a wrap. So here's the before shot again. And bam, this is what it looked like after. So quite a massive difference. And it's actually so good to have the drone to see the two dams side by side, because it's like having a before and an after shot. Now that you've seen me struggle with that dam, I'm going to show you the results of digging out that area. Now there's a few telltale signs to know whether it's an underground spring or whether it's surface water that is gathered from the rain. Surface water will usually dry and change over time as the seasons change. When you dig a hole, it usually won't fill up with water, a spring will. Also, insects like bees and stuff will love to hang around a spring as it's fresh water. What else? I think that's about it. There might be a few other things, I'll let you know. But yeah, so basically I had all these signs, so I was pretty sure. And let me show you the result. Look at that. It's almost so clear you can't see it. Let me touch it to show you. Ow! Okay. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. Look at that water. How insane is that? So I've literally dug the tiniest bit, and I don't know if you can see that there's little bees hanging all around, loving it. They're getting something off the surface of the soil. I'm not sure what. If anybody knows, let me know. Is it the water? But yeah, this is bloody gorgeous. So basically I think we're good to go. And this is just filled up instantly. So either water table is just below the surface or very, very close to, and we'll follow this down. So very, very exciting. So yes, basically this will be my starting point, and then I'll be able to work my way down just like I showed you on the plans. And it's not gonna be a fast project. It's gonna take a lot of time. Like, this will be probably over a couple years or even more. You know, my idea of time, I say a couple years, and gosh, it could be 10. Like, you know, I have no idea. So I'm gonna do as best as I can. As always, it's usually done mostly by hand. So that does take time, and when I can find the time as well, because I obviously need to be at a house. But this is definitely the project I'm most excited for. So any moments that I can get time, I will probably be doing it because it's so exciting. I love water so much. So anyway, I'll see you guys next time.